What up, Lonnie?
This is the sound of Jack, buzz cutting his way to a small fortune. It's as a saving. You make money work, we can work with that.
Apply. Wells Fargo Bank, N.A., member FDIC.
I told you Isaiah, you wouldn't even believe it. I just think different, you know.
Frank Lucas.
I be getting bands, ho. In my spaceship chilling by the land, though. Somewhere over Orlando. Y'all make a stand, so y'all understand, ho. I was jumping off the mantle. I'ma do this shit for all my niggas trapping out the bando. For the young dudes saying fuck school. On the block trying to make a move. Pitch rock, get caught, trying to get the tool. Then you look up at the sky, tell me what to do. And I give you back the plan, it's Dan. Switch the N out with the A, and it's in your DNA. Listen to the words I say, track out every verse I lay. And you know that I am here to stay. I'm an alien, and I ain't here to play. Hey, motherfucker, judge, critics, and TV. I do this from the heart, cause I do this shit for me. Action Usually I can do this shit for free, but I'd rather make you cut your check and pay that shit to me. Taking off the launch pad, but that's where I'm landing. Wildin' out like I'm on with Nick Cannon. I got a party in my pants and it's gonna be off this planet. I'm an alien and Earth is where I landed. And I couldn't even plan this. All my haters, man, they couldn't even stand it. How I'm getting money outlandish. I'm so hot right now, you can come and get a tan, bitch. I ain't done it, I'm just getting it established. From the future, but I'm living in the past shit. Deja vu, like I already done passed this. I'm killing beats, you can put this in the casket. It's like I'm living my life just to say I ain't a new age slave, give me my pay. Give me my Fritos, my Cheetos, my Lays. Control the whole world off the money we make. NWO, big money and smoke. Shit is right at the dope. And I already know that the plan is get it and go. I'm an alien, I wanted to go. Off the surf, my work since birth. When the vibrations hurt, I jerk. Got a power in me that you really can't see, so you really don't know what it's worth. They say the light in the tunnel be shining. Well, mine is bright and blinding. I'ma switch it like a light bulb when I'm in the room. Everybody, I leave you blinded.
Chill. Y'all hear that flow? Y'all hear that flow from 11 years ago?
Sometimes I really do feel
What's
like I'm
that?
an alien just for the simple fact that I experienced something that nobody
We back for
wants to
another
talk
week.
about. But everybody, I know you experience it, but y'all don't want to talk about it. So that makes me the alien.
What's up, y'all? Welcome to another episode of Expansion Pack. I'm your host, Dan F. Man. Y'all heard me from back in the day, rapping from back in the day. Back in the days. My bad. I had to do all that. All right. We here for another week. I'm just trying to get everything situated and set up for y'all. I'm going to go ahead and run down motivation for my mans and them out there. My mic cord activated, so I'm probably end up fixing that. Yeah, hold on. Let me get y'all some motivation, then I'll fix the mic. So, we did sons last week. Motivation for dads. Dad needs something. All right, hold on. Let me turn this mic down. All right, that sounds like it's better. Motivation for your daddy. What your dad forgot to teach you? Shit, my...
Imagine being able to build an app with your name on it, just by thinking about it. Meet base.
Yo, I think, so we really gonna do an episode on parents, yo.
I said I can't.
On parenting. Because this is getting out of hand. It's really getting out of hand, and it just pushed me over the edge. So, if you grow up without something there to show you the way, how I don't know what to ask after that. If you grow up without something to show you the way, you bound to be anything. You know what I'm saying? The carpenter's son became a carpenter because his dad. The fatherless child, what is he gonna do? Anyway.
My dad's teeth would just start to go. Excuse me? You sure you're not just having...
What my dad forgot to teach me.
If I said I can't,
Shit.
my dad's teeth would start to go. Excuse me?
Right.
You sure you're not just having trouble?
Exactly. That's what I'm gonna
I
tell him.
remember this one time
Run it back so y'all can hear what he said, then I'm out of here.
If I said I can't, my dad's teeth would just start to go. Excuse me? You sure you're not just having trouble? I remember this one time I was going out to do my chores Saturday morning to mow the lawn, and I couldn't get the damn lawnmower to start. Checked everything, couldn't get it to start. I'm going inside. I said, Dad, can you help me out? I can't get the lawnmower started. And he turned around, I saw his molars. And he got up, walked with me through the kitchen, through the garage, out the backyard, went to the lawnmower, messed around, pulled a couple things out, after about 10 minutes, boom, cranked it. And while the lawnmower was running right there, he came over to me and bent down and looked me in the eye. He goes, see, son, you were just having trouble.
You need... So, Let me say this. I will tell you that I got that with my kids. The same little problem, like my molars start biting. You sure you're not just having trouble?
Work on being a good man. Your neighbor down the road is in a difficult place and they can't get their yard mowed. The old lady across the street, the old gentleman across the street, it snows. Just take your shovel and go over and shovel their sidewalk. Just somebody at work, you watch and you look, and people at work, they're going through a hard time. Just, hey, are you all right? Anything I can do to help? Being good is proactive. It's doing something. Be a dangerous man. Now, being dangerous is not being a threat. They're two different things, all right? And it's not about going out and lifting weights and getting a bunch of tattoos and wearing leather jackets and walking around with your chest and shoulders up, hulking around saying, I'm dangerous. That's very rarely is that a dangerous man. Often the most dangerous man in the room is the quietest man in the room. Third, be educated. Listen, you want to know how to be a man among men? You start following and reading and listening to guys like Jocko Willett, Jordan Peterson, these guys, and start learning. Start reading. The brain is a muscle, and like any muscle, the more you work it, the stronger it becomes.
My dad worked for a large corporation, and before he retired, he said to me, don't work for a large company, because when you're 65 or whatever, they're going to retire you and you'll never hear from them again. Yeah. And that is exactly what happened to my dad, and it was heartbreaking. And he said, look, whatever you do, you're going to have to be patient, because it's not going to happen overnight. If you want to do well, you've got to learn to be good at it, and it could take.
Hey y'all, we gonna do an episode. I'm trying to tell you right now. My head must be messed up. Not messed up. I'm feeling this one, because whenever I see somebody talking about the stuff that they dad told them, I think about how I got that same piece of information.
It could take 30 years, but understand that. And I'm like, I'm fine with that.
Do you have a plan? You don't have to be rich now, but do you have a plan, right? Have you found means of being confident? Can you demonstrate kindness and excellence across anything?
My granddad always said this: the greatest gifts in life are not in the plans, they're in the detours. There is no way I could plan my way to being on the stage. I have failed a lot more and a lot longer than I have succeeded. I didn't originally get the role in Top Gun that I auditioned for, and it's worked out better than I could have ever even imagined. So if you want your life to be a great story, like a great movie, if you want it filled with adventure, comedy, romance, action, thrills, when you go out there and things inevitably don't go according to plan, just remember, that's when your movie's plot is just getting interesting. That's when your protagonist is being tested. That's when the writers are working overtime to give the audience some nail-biting drama. Right. Enjoy things not going according to plan. If you knew the ending, it wouldn't be worth the watch. No good story happens from things going right.
What advice would you give to someone who is unsure about what to do in life? I would start asking you questions, asking you to investigate yourself for the things that you like doing, for the things that you can't stop thinking about, for the kind of fiction or nonfiction that you read, the areas of the world that fascinate you or irritate you. Each one of us is sitting here in these, roughly ambulatory engines of our bodies and looking out, and each of us latches on to different stuff about the world that moves us in different ways. And I think that there is value in investigating those parts of your point of view.
We look down now to 16-year-olds and say, where are you going to go to college? What are you going to do for the rest of your life? And it's like, they're not fully baked yet. How do they know? Give them a break. Just say, look, I think after high school, take a year off, take 2 years off, join the Peace Corps, travel, go figure things out, or just enjoy yourself. For the first time in their lives, they're adults, and they don't have to be somewhere. They're not told to be somewhere. Get used to that freedom.
I like that, Hal.
EVE Online is a
That was good.
vast universe.
That was good. All right. That kind of did something to my soul, I can't lie. Yeah, only because Mondays make you feel something. I'm making that up. But I think we might redirect the theme of Mondays from Mindful Mondays to something more dedicated, because I think it's necessary. Anyway, so today we are, let me make sure I'm right. All right, so today we're looking at the biology of mind. Now, what I had in mind for this episode was the fact that I really like seeing scientific stuff that has to do with biology right now, or what's that in the camera that look crooked? Something look crooked. Oh, it's the bar. All right, that have to do with biology, the way that things are made up, stuff like that. Because I could unscrew something right now. I take that screwdriver, I turn that screwdriver, I take that thing off, take it apart, put it back together, right? But one thing I will not do and cannot do is surgery. Now, surgery won't involve no screws on nothing, except for the tools that you're using to actually do the surgery, all right? So the doctor come in there and scrub me and do all of this, and he get to work on you. You ain't got no screws. He might install some screws in you. You know what I'm saying? He can go to work. He can go to town. He gonna incision, nurse, incisor. You know, we're gonna close this chest cavity. He gonna go to work on your tissue. And so it's fascinating to me to see that type of organic infrastructure, or you call it mechanical, that type of organic work being done. So we're gonna look at the biology of mind today. We ain't necessarily gonna look at the biology of your body. So let's see, biology of the brain. We'll start there. Let's see what they got. Neuroscientifically challenged. Okay, that's a good channel.
Cerebral cortex is often.
I think we've been through the anatomy side of this thing on a previous episode, but the reason I'm going back to it is because this is in your head right now. If you ain't got one of these, pretty sure you're not here. So this is inside your head right now, and it's useful to have this information.
Called the longitudinal fissure, which divides the brain into two cerebral hemispheres. Looking at the brain from above, you can see a deep fissure called the longitudinal fissure, which divides the brain into two cerebral hemispheres. The surface of these cerebral hemispheres is riddled with many smaller fissures called sulci. The ridges around those sulci are called gyri. Sulci and gyri are formed from the folding of the outermost layer of the brain, the cerebral cortex. The cerebral cortex contains important areas devoted to processing sensory information, important areas for movement, and what are known as association areas, which are regions where information from other brain areas is integrated to support higher-level cognitive functions. The cerebral cortex is often divided into lobes, with the most common division being into four lobes: frontal, parietal, occipital, and temporal. While each lobe contains numerous individual regions, we can identify some important areas for specific functions in each lobe.
Okay.
The frontal lobe, for example, contains the motor cortex, an area of the brain that's critically important for voluntary movement. The primary motor cortex makes up a large portion of the motor cortex.
It's my girl.
Neurons in the primary motor cortex cause movement in the head and body. The portion of the frontal lobe that's in primary motor cortex cause movement in the head and body. The portion of the frontal lobe that's in front of the motor cortex is called the prefrontal cortex. The prefrontal cortex is particularly involved in higher-level cognitive functions, including decision-making, planning, impulse control, and the ability to act in pursuit of long-term goals.
Come on, commercials.
Gaza is at a tipping point.
That's what it's up.
Although there are a number of areas of the frontal lobe that are involved in language, one well-known language area is Broca's area, which is found in the left cerebral hemisphere in most people. The precise role of Broca's area in language is still being debated, but it's thought to be important for language production because damage to the region often disrupts the ability to produce language. A sulcus called the central sulcus separates the frontal lobe from the parietal lobe. The parietal lobe is involved with a number of functions, including language, spatial orientation, and attention, and it also contains the primary somatosensory cortex, an area of the brain that's responsible for processing sensations from the body, such as touch, pain, temperature, and proprioception, or awareness of the body's position in space. The occipital lobe is found at the very back of the brain. It's primarily associated with visual processing. The primary visual cortex, the main area for visual processing, is found here, along with several other visual areas. The temporal lobe is involved in a number of functions, including higher order processing of visual information, learning and memory, and hearing. It contains the primary auditory cortex, which plays a critical role in our ability to perceive sound. Near the junction between the temporal and parietal lobes is another important language area known as Wernicke's area.
Oh, dang.
Wernicke's area is typically associated with language comprehension, although its contribution to language processing is still being explored. Extending from the very back and bottom of the brain is the cerebellum. The cerebellum is best known for its roles in movement, which include motor coordination and control, balance and posture, fine-tuning of voluntary movements, and movement-related learning. When we look at a medial view of the brain, we can see a number of other structures that were obscured with a lateral view. We can, for example, clearly see the brainstem, which connects the brain to the spinal cord. The brainstem contains a number of important pathways that run between the brain and spinal cord, but it also has many important areas of its own. The brainstem is divided into three regions: the midbrain, pons, and medulla. The medulla, or medulla oblongata, is the lowest part of the brainstem, found just above the spinal cord. One of the important roles linked to the medulla is the regulation of vital functions, such as cardiovascular and respiratory activity. The pons contains important pathways that carry information to and from the cerebellum, and is home to a number of nuclei, or clusters of neurons, associated with the cranial nerves, a group of nerves that are involved with sensory and motor functions of the head and face. The midbrain is the uppermost portion of the brainstem. The midbrain contains the two largest dopamine-producing areas in the brain. One is the substantia nigra. Dopamine neurons here play important roles in movement, among other things. Large numbers of dopamine neurons in the substantia nigra die in Parkinson's disease, leading to problems with movement. The other major dopamine-producing area in the midbrain is called the ventral tegmental area, or VTA. Dopamine neurons in the
Now wait, don't get it twisted, y'all. Now we doing this for a reason. Now sometimes you might drift off. You might be like, man, we listen to this over and over. But we doing this for a reason. Every last one of y'all, if you listening to this video, you got one of these. You got the ventral tegmental area. You got the brainstem, the midbrain, the pons. You got the prefrontal cortex. You got the you got all that. If you ain't got it, you ain't here. So it's good to be educated on this. You know how to make money. You can know how to drive cars. You can know how to build a house. And all of it is stored in one of these areas in here. I'm amazing. Go ahead.
VTA extend to various parts of the brain, one of them being a region called the nucleus accumbens. This pathway between the VTA and nucleus accumbens seems to be critically important for rewarding experiences, such as the use of addictive drugs. The substantia nigra and nucleus accumbens are also part of a larger group of structures called the basal ganglia. The basal ganglia include several other regions as well, and are involved in movement, habit formation, and reward processing, among other things. Above the brainstem is a structure called the thalamus. The thalamus is often described as a relay station, because a great deal of the information that proceeds to the cortex first stops in the thalamus before being sent on to its destination. For example, all sensory information except olfaction travels from sensory receptors to a nucleus in the thalamus specialized for dealing with that type of sensory data. Then the information is sent from the thalamus to the appropriate area of the cortex where it is further processed. Posterior to the thalamus is the pineal gland, whose main function is to secrete the hormone melatonin. Melatonin plays an important role in regulating circadian rhythms and is primarily secreted during darkness. The hypothalamus is found just below the thalamus. The hypothalamus is involved in a long list of processes, many of which are critically important to maintaining homeostasis across various bodily systems. Some of the major functions generally attributed to the hypothalamus include the regulation of thirst and drinking behavior, hunger and feeding, body temperature, stress responses, circadian rhythms, and more. One of the ways the hypothalamus helps to regulate all of these functions is through its connections to the pituitary gland, a hormone-secreting gland that sits just below the hypothalamus. The pituitary gland produces a number of hormones, such as growth hormone, thyroid-stimulating hormone, follicle-stimulating hormone, and luteinizing
Y'all know how I
hormone,
feel about that word.
which it releases in response to signals from the hypothalamus.
It's the dumbest.
The pituitary gland also
dumbest
secretes
word
two
ever.
hormones, oxytocin and vasopressin, which are made in the hypothalamus and sent down to the pituitary gland to be released into the bloodstream. The hippocampus is found in the temporal lobe, but was not visible with the lateral view of the brain we used earlier when discussing the temporal lobe. Typically, the hippocampus would be surrounded by brain tissue, but in this image, its approximate location is highlighted. The hippocampus has many functions, but is best known for its role in memory. It seems to be especially important for turning short-term memories into long-term memories. Adjacent to the hippocampus is the amygdala, an almond-shaped structure known for its role in emotion. The amygdala is most well known for processing fear and responding to threats in the environment, but it is also involved in other emotions, including positive emotions such as pleasure. This C-shaped area is called the corpus callosum. The corpus callosum is the largest bundle of axons in the brain, and it connects the left and right cerebral hemispheres, enabling communication between them to occur. There is a system of cavities found throughout the brain. These hollow spaces are called ventricles. Specialized membranes in the ventricles produce cerebrospinal fluid, or CSF. CSF performs a number of important functions for the brain. For example, it surrounds the brain, forming a protective layer and suspending the brain in fluid, which reduces the strain forces like gravity would have on the brain. It also removes waste products from the brain and helps to regulate the extracellular environment of neurons.
Okay, now, I hope that y'all got something out of it and not just enjoyed it or whatever. I enjoyed it and I got something out of it. The last little bit, just the fact that we have those ventricles. Let's look up what it actually means. Ventricle meaning. What is a ventricle? A hollow part or cavity in an organ. Now, just imagine, right? There's a hollow part of your brain inside. It's a hollow piece inside your brain. Like it's nothing there. It's just an empty space, right? Theoretically, I'll just follow my theory. If I was to go, ooh, those sounds could bounce around in that ventricle. Air is not supposed to get into that ventricle, of course. But you could kind of just think about different possibilities. That's what I took away from that. Hearing that, I didn't know that there was any hollow space inside of my head or inside of my brain, let alone, inside of my head. So we do this so that we can expand our knowledge. Now,
Are you having trouble
you may have
trying
been
to
living
keep
on
up
this
with your
earth this
professor?
whole time and never heard the word hypothalamus. Well, now that you have, it's in your brain. Now, again, on a side tangent, I'm gonna tell you why they did this to us, man. Why they did this to us, bro? Let me get me all the way in the camera. Why they did this to us? I think that one of the most it's helpful and detrimental things to our existence is the communication. Is our communication. And what I mean is, we talk or we need to communicate constantly, whether it be with our phones by touching the screen in order to get it to come on and work. That's a form of communication. Your finger is communicating with the touch, the tempered glass, in order to get it to come on and do its functions. Whether you talking to your mama, communication is fundamental to our existence here. And I just want to say that we may have been able to do a little better than the word hormones. Okay? Now that's my baseline right there, man. If you ain't fed up with some of the ways that we have been confused living here in this reality, I don't know what to tell you, man. Now I could come to you and explain your entire anatomy. You have the pituitary gland inside of you that is secreting hormones. Once I get to that part, I give up. I'm sorry, I'm on a tangent, I'm on a rant, but that we could have did better than that. Hormones. It's secreting hormones. So what was it in there? Just gosh, man. Anyway, I'll let that one go. I'm not gonna let it go. I'm a Duolingo just messaged me yesterday talking about you supposed to be in here learning Chinese, Japanese, something else other than English. Anyway, English got you saying hormones and be less. And got you mourning all the time. All right, now I'm done. What was the topic for today? Oh, the anatomy of mind or the biology of mind. All right, let's look at what are neurons? Because these are inside of your brain and your heart and all of that stuff. This is the way that the brain communicates and all of that.
Imagine yourself in the middle of a game of catch. A player throws the ball towards you, and as the ball jets closer, you quickly recognize where to position your hand in order to catch the ball safely. Have you ever wondered how your brain is able to so quickly make that decision? How does information flow so fast from your eyes to your brain and back to your hand in order to successfully catch the ball? All information from our environment, in this case, information from the eye about the size and speed of the ball coming towards you, is converted by nerve cells or neurons into electrical signals that are carried to the brain. Similarly, information from our brain to our body, such as an order to move our hand towards the ball's trajectory, is also sent in the form of these signals. These electric signals are called action potentials or nerve impulses. Because these signals are instantaneous, our brain is able to help us quickly detect and respond to things in our environment, both good and bad.
What just happened?
It is thanks to the speedy nature of such detect and respond to things in our environment, both
He
instantaneous.
ducked. He
Our brain
ducked.
is able to help us quickly detect and respond to things in our environment, both good and bad. It is thanks to the speedy nature of such signals that you can immediately recognize your favorite song, or quickly pull your foot away when you step on a pin. So how do neurons send these signals or fire these action potentials? The human brain contains tens of billions of neurons that are connected to each other. Each neuron has a cell body with several branches. The smaller branches, called dendrites, receive signals that come together, and then the total signal is transmitted through the longest branch, the axon. Similar to how a wire carries electricity from a switch to an electric bulb, the axon carries nerve impulses from a cell body to the next cell. The outer or extracellular surface of a neuron is bathed in a salty solution of positively charged sodium and negatively charged chloride ions. The inner surface has a positively charged potassium ions and proteins that are negatively charged. The negatively charged proteins inside the cell are not balanced by an equal number of positive ions, making the inner surface of the neuron slightly more negative than the outside. This gives rise to an electrical gradient. Furthermore, there is a higher concentration of potassium ions inside, giving rise to a diffusion gradient that forces them to flow outside. Thus, there is both an electrical gradient and a chemical gradient, an electrochemical gradient, forcing ions from inside the cell to go out. Each neuron, when at rest, maintains a voltage difference arising from the electrochemical gradient, just as a battery maintains a certain voltage between its poles. This voltage of approximately -70 millivolts is referred to as the resting potential of a neuron. The cell membrane of the neuron contains ion channels. These are pores formed using proteins that selectively allow certain ions to pass through, similar to how an airport security guard checks visitors and only allows those with a ticket to proceed to their gates. Some of these channels are special in that they open and close only at a certain voltage. These are called voltage-gated ion channels. Ion channels allow ions in and out, causing the voltage of the cell to move away from its resting potential. At any given time, a neuron keeps receiving small amounts of incoming signals, which results in small fluctuations in the membrane voltage. These are called graded potential, but they are not strong enough to result in the firing of a neuron. A neuron fires or generates a nerve impulse only when the total sum of input signals is large enough to cross a threshold
Right.
potential
Basically,
of
you
negative
won't move,
55
right.
millivolts. This begins because
Wow.
it triggers voltage-gated sodium channels to open. These channels, when opened, cause a rush of many sodium ions into the cell from outside. This causes depolarization of the neuron, or a reversal of charge in its inner surface from negative to positive. The voltage difference continues to become more positive. When the voltage reaches 30 millivolts, it causes voltage-gated potassium channels to open. These channels allow potassium ions to move from inside to outside, slowly repolarizing the cell or restoring the more negative voltage difference. However, the voltage-gated potassium ion channels are much slower to close, causing the voltage to drop below the resting potential of negative 70 millivolts. This is called hyperpolarization. After a neuron fires in this way, its voltage would be drained, like a rechargeable battery after prolonged use. A reusable battery, however, can be recharged by passing an external current through it. The neurons outsource this job to pumps located on the membrane by spending energy currency called ATP. These pumps act like revolving doors in buildings. They let out more sodium ions from inside the cell, while simultaneously bringing in fewer potassium ions. This brings the neuron back to its resting potential. This entire event of neuron firing follows...
So is anybody else thinking that there ain't no way that this could happen by chance? Now, I ain't sleep over here. But I ain't lying all this up. You ain't lying all this up. You gotta believe in God, man.
Rules. 1. It is an all or nothing event. Nerve impulses are much like digital signals. They occur in the same magnitude, regardless of how strong or weak the stimulus is. However, the threshold voltage must be crossed in order to generate it. 2. They are unidirectional. Once a segment of the membrane becomes depolarized, it passes the signal forward to the next segment. Ion channels, after finishing their job of passing the signal, will pull down their shutters and take a break, becoming inactive for a short while. This is called their refractory period. Therefore, a signal cannot return to them and has no choice but to travel forward to the next segment on the membrane. The process of generating a nerve impulse is fairly quick. However, in certain situations where this is not fast enough, our body uses special neurons with a coating called a myelin sheath to speed up signaling. This coating covers the surface of the axon, while leaving small spots called nodes of Ranvier open. In such covered axons, the signal doesn't have to travel through the entire length of the axon, but only through these gaps, making the signal travel even faster. This type of jumpy signal transmission is called saltatory conduction. In our sense organs, these nerve impulses are caused in response to a sensation, such as odor, taste, touch, sound, or light. For example, in the eye, a nerve impulse is generated in response to light reaching the cells of the retina, which are then passed on through the optic nerve to the part of the brain that processes visual information. The nerve impulse can also have a variety of effects based on where it is sent. When you accidentally step on a pin on the ground, nerves in the spinal cord respond by sending a nerve impulse to your leg muscles, asking them to contract, thereby pulling your leg away from the pin in a fraction of a second. The brain constantly makes sense of the pattern, frequency, and area of origin of the incoming nerve impulses in order to interpret them, and then responds by making appropriate commands to the relevant body parts. In a way, nerve impulses or action potentials are the digital language of the brain itself.
So that one right there is highly informative because you may turn your TV on, you may watch your TV, you may even change the brightness of your screen. But building a TV involves completely different knowledge. You see what I'm saying? Like, you got to access a whole nother set of knowledge in order to make a TV rather than watch a TV. All right? And so it's the same thing with your body. You could live a whole life and never heard the word axon, neuron, or action potential. And you'll still work and potentially be fine. You'll be able to work a job, have kids, do all of it, all right? But having that little bit of deeper understanding or that little bit of extra knowledge helps you go a little bit further. Hence the name Expansion Pack. But like I said when I paused it, man, oh man, it blew my mind. I done flown on a helicopter. I can tell you how to maintain a little bit of hydraulics on on the helicopter, but it still fascinates me to see one built and flying in action. And it still fascinates me every day that I wake up, because it's like I got action potentials. I got the potassium gate opening and closing at the certain electrical voltage. I got all of that going on inside of me. And so do you. All right, let's do something fun. Let's see. Now we're gonna do this just to test your impulses. We're gonna do this to test your neurons and see how they firing. You know what I'm saying? All right. I don't know what that was that they just showed on my screen, but I don't want to see it again. All right, y'all gonna try to control y'all impulses. All right. Control your neurons, that brain, the amygdala, and all of that good stuff. Ooh, that's not funny though.
Have you ever seen somebody get attacked by a waterfall? Well, now you have.
Me encanta la playa porque todo es paz.
Oh, jeez, no. That hurt. That's my guy. Oh, let's try not to laugh. Oh.
I just hope that this guy was not busy with a funeral service when this happened.
Y tú ya lo estás haciendo con saña, como que ya te enojaste. Órale, cocazo.
Bruh.
And just like that, a romantic moment turned into a memorable prank.
Bruh. Girl, you can't talk to me for the next 30 minutes to 2 days, depending on how I feel. Bruh. Y'all laughing yet? Y'all neurons firing to make you laugh?
Oh my God. What is the quickest way to get pink eye in public? Well, if you don't know, then this is the answer.
Bruh! Oh, it was a girl. Okay, we're gonna excuse it.
What the heck happened?
Yeah, I'm laughing. Look at the dog. So what's happening right now is there is an action potential that is building up inside my neurons to make me, when I look at this, to make me laugh, and then eventually I can't control it, and you see what I'm saying? That look funny. Get that sock off my man's. My man's like, bruh. Now that was funny. I can't lie, that dog was funny to me. Bruh.
Kiss me.
I'm sorry, but that was funny. Oh, man. The dog. Right, the dog was like, get this off me. Yo, the dog like, bruh. Now, you know what? I'm not playing. Every time I see that dog now, if I see that dog again, I'm gonna be dying laughing. And my man's try to go in, he's like, oh snap, when they open this. That store do look real. It look real. He like, bro, y'all playing, bro.
They say that the floods in Asia are pretty bad. People have to swim through waters just to get to different locations. But then you get these guys.
Bruh, no. Why y'all ain't catching on the last one? See, right about now, if you are like me, your nerve impulses inside of your brain are firing off laughter. Why y'all ain't catching off the last one?
Katie smells something, but I found a potato. Like a wild one.
You know when you have a really strict mom and she tells you to go and clean in front of the house? Well, next time she does that, I think that you should do this.
Oh.
Literally crying over my nails right now because they're so ugly. Oh my god, okay. This is what I wanted, okay? This is the pastels, and this is what I got.
I wonder how long this guy...
Hold on, wait.
My nails are...
Your nails?
I'm literally crying over my nails right now because they're so ugly. Oh my god, okay. This is what I wanted, okay? This is the pastels, and this is what I got.
So I don't get this one.
Wonder how long this guy would have kept going with this dance. Mr. Bean would have been so proud.
15 seconds. Keep going. Keep going. Keep going. You're on 9 seconds. You're nearly there. You're nearly there. Yeah.
That ain't funny. Get out of here. I'm gonna punch you.
Sir, I need your license, please.
This mask...
What?
Please. All right, sir. I need your license, please.
This mask looks way too realistic. There is no way that they are selling these at the costume stores.
Tengo pen, acá arriba, tengo card. Déjame, tengo tavern here too. Es que yo tengo that.
Guys, drop something back there. It was an L.
What are you doing, mate?
Not getting there, aren't I?
Why?
You threw my level across there.
Oh, hang on, you
That
said.
level, I've had 5 years scaffolding yarn.
Yeah. Go on, jump. That's it. Go, Paps, go, Paps, go.
Oh, no, mate, you are. Mate. Oh, what's this, Dino?
Oh.
Revenge is... Mwah.
We have got to...
All right, y'all. Let's get up off of that. So, reason we did that one is because we naturally just start laughing, or we might be thirsty, so we naturally know how to drink. We don't need to learn that process again, or how to eat. But the inside, where the neurons are firing, or maybe how your brain is working, is don't let it be a complete mystery to you, is what I'm saying. Educate yourself a little bit in those areas that are fundamentally, a part of us all. Don't slack in the areas that all of us need. Now, we all need to eat, we all sleep, we all drink, we all, and so on and so forth. And so you should be knowledgeable in the areas of you. All right. Alright, let's look at something else real quick and then we up out of here for the day. Anatomy of the mind. Anatomy of Mind. We're going to actually type in the title for the day and see what they give us. The brain explained. We already seen that. We already seen that. We already human brain. Oh, we already seen that. Inside your eyes. That would be fun, but no. Your brain, who's in control? Y'all should watch that on your own. How does your brain store memories? This would be good, but we ain't got that much time. But we'll watch a couple minutes of this.
Where were you? Long-term memory. Basically, the hippocampus. An area deep in the brain called the hippocampus. And no, it is not like a college for hippopotamuses or a university if you're, fancy. No, it's simply...
see what I'm saying? We don't even need to watch no more of this. Look at this. Look at this. We gotta stop just speaking one
area
language.
Of
if
the
you
brain
speak
called
just
the
one language like me, you are suffering.
Called the hippocampus.
You are suffering.
What's converted into long-term memory. There's an area deep in the brain called the hippocampus, and no, it is not like a college for hippopotamuses.
It is a college
or
for
a university if you're, fancy.
Right.
No, it's simply an area of the brain called the hippocampus. But now you have a
Why do
very,
they call
very
it the
good mnemonic device,
hippocampus,
right?
though?
Yeah, you do. Look at all those hippos going to college. So
right,
basically what
in
happens
there.
is the short-term memory is,
people.
for lack of a better term, played back in the hippocampus. And believe it or not, a long-term memory is kind of an aggregate of a bunch of small, short-term memories. You have a short-term memory of how you felt, of what you saw, of what you ate or touched or smelled. Essentially, a lot of different sensory short-term memories are aggregated into a single long-term memory. Basically, the hippocampus takes this fully formed aggregate memory and creates connections between neurons that are eventually fixed in place. It's important to remember that this is not immediate, that they are fixed in place, and essentially saves it as, for lack of a better word, data. Now, I'm not saying that this is done in some sort of binary arrangement like actual data, because honestly, I don't know. But the way these neuron combinations eventually are fixed essentially acts as an index for the aggregate, and as one recalls that specific memory, the index specifically calls different parts of the brain. If you're observing a brain scan of somebody recalling something, different areas of the brain are clearly active. What's interesting is the way that this memory is stored, the combinations of different neuron connections, is that they can actually be dependent on arrangement of molecules. Memory is actually aggregated on a molecular level. Knowing how small a molecule is, which is unfathomably small, you literally can't understand it by human perception. You need tools to. It's fair to say that there's quite a bit of storage space on your brain hard drive. But as much as that is a strength, it can also be a weakness. Biologically speaking, the material that we store memory in is just like anything else in our bodies. It's organic, it's carbon-based, and it can break down. Being things are being done on a molecular level, any small amount of breakdown could easily corrupt or even eliminate a memory altogether. When one considers the fact that it is operating on such a tiny level, and that the brain is constantly rewriting what is going on, it has to rewire itself on a constant basis on account the human body, the human person, the human being has to constantly adapt to a changing world. Again, this is both a huge strength and a huge weakness. Unfortunately, it makes perception and memory fallible, but it's also what makes personality, the expression of our experience and our interpretation of the world, possible. It is.
That's why it's important to write things down as well, because the way that you see it right now is not going to be the way you remember it. Did y'all catch that one? All right. If you did, you did. If you didn't, you didn't. Now, we going to get on out of here for the day. Y'all join us here again tomorrow, Tech Tuesday. I think I must be getting more comfortable with hosting this show because I just feel good about being here and telling y'all things. So we going to get y'all a little song. And we going to say a little light, little bit of prayer. Y'all bow y'all. Father, we come to you and we say thank you again for bringing us here again today to this world, this reality, and just here to do your works. I've found peace and I've found grace and mercy in doing your works. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen. We out of here, y'all. Yes, you can have that. If you would really like.
Hey, buddy, what's going on?
Hope y'all heard all that.
Well, you better pick it up because now.
I'll see y'all tomorrow, Tech Tuesday. As usual, if you got any suggestions, you would like to have a nice little topic of yours talked about here on the show, just hit me up. Any of the you know where to find me at. Just hit me up, and I'm going to holler at y'all tomorrow. This is DGTA TV. Peace.
Yes, you can have that if you really want. It's already in your bag because you really, really want it. Think about it, you'll have what you really, really want. If you really, really want it, really, really want it. Your thoughts create what you have, even if you didn't want it. Concentrate on the bad, then that's what you really want it. Focus on it, you'll have what you really, really want. If you really, really want it, really, really want it. I believe in attraction, bring into my life what I attracted. If I do not want it, I do the math and subtract it. From my thoughts, I don't think about things I don't want, cause you get what you think. A lesson I had to learn from getting what I don't want. Hearing lectures from my spirit is coming through as my thoughts. You should really pay attention because it is worth the cost. The concept is not a long shot, really more like a toss. This reality is flexible, bend into what you want. And your thoughts are the currency, spend it on what you want. You get to keep all the change and change your life with a thought. If that's what you really want, then think about what you want. Don't think about the obstacles cause you could jump across. I understand that the pressure is something you can't avoid, and that monkey on your back is riding you like a horse. Just think about what you want, what you really, really want. Yes, you can have that if you really want. It's already in your bag cause you really, really want it. Think about it, you have what you really, really want. If you really, really want it, really, really want it. Your thoughts create what you have, even if you didn't want it. Concentrate on the bad, then that's what you really want it. Focus on it, you'll have what you really, really want. If you really, really want it, really, really want it. Easier said than done though, I know it ain't that simple, but practice makes perfect. Just get in the gym mode, meditate, elevate to see where you wanna go. You may not use it now, take it down as a mental note. I promise that it won't hurt, it could only help. Training your thoughts, you can do it all by yourself. Life's a one, play a game, you're playing all by yourself. And if your thoughts become reality, you created this for yourself. Imagine how you could excel, don't give it a try, you can't not fail. Taking your shots, just put the nail in the coffin. Now paying attention to your thoughts make you a prophet. And you getting everything you want because you thought it. Feels like magic when things happen like you thought it. Nobody hates when miracles happen to them too often. You call it a blessing, I say it's what you really wanted. You can have anything if you really, really want it. Yes, you can have that if you really want it. It's already in your bag cause you really, really want it. Think about it, you'll have what you really, really want. If you really, really want it, really, really want it. Your thoughts create what you have, even if you didn't want it. Concentrate on the bad, then that's what you really want it. Focus on it, you'll have what you really, really want. If you really, really want it, really, really want it. Yes, you can have that if you really want it. It's already in your bag cause you really, really want it. Think about it, you'll have what you really, really want. If you really, really want it, really, really want it. Your thoughts create what you have, even if you didn't want it. Concentrate on the bad, then that's what you really want it. Focus on it, you'll have what you really, really want.